Hello, John. Today we're going to talk about how religion creates jobs in the economy. A while back, when you were out foreign, you were talking about when you were out foreign how you noticed that the religion creates jobs. So maybe you want to talk about that.
It does. One thing that I noticed when I visited France, because when we visit a country, we just don't go and lie on the beach and see nothing. We visit various sites of historical nature and so on and so forth. And in France there, a year or two ago, I see where they have upwards of 93 million visitors a year. And the breakdown of those visitors are 40% visit religious sites. That's upwards of 40 million. Mm-hmm. The other number of 30% or thereabouts, and maybe another 40%, include religious and spiritual sites in their travels, but also visit other type of places, and then 20% go for some other reasons. But quite a number of the 93 plus million that go to France go for religious visits. So that's France. Spain has a lot of visitors for the sun, but they also have visitors for these pilgrim paths. The famous one in St. James's Way, which is the patron saint of Spain, towards San Diego de Compostela, and it's people go on that of Catholics, other Christians, and people of no religion, because they gain something from that experience. So, and then they have other sites in Portugal for Fatima and all the rest of it. So, a lot of people visit these sites and go to visit other places other than where the shrines are and where Our Blessed Lady appeared. They go to visit abbeys, cathedrals, the famous one, Mont Saint Michel in France. They go to visit that. They get upwards of 4 million visitors a year, and it's quite a difficult place to get to. You park, if you have a car, you park it, and a bus brings you to it, and you have to climb very steep steps. So to have all these visitors, upwards of 4 million, to this Mont Saint Michel. Now there are kind of restaurants and souvenir shops as you're climbing up, and how to get their goods delivered is a mystery to me. So religion is creating a lot of jobs in France.
Okay, there are 600,000 faith-based trips in the world every year. That's a shocking figure.
It is.
It's a great figure.
So people do have this spiritual need. As a matter of fact, I'll give you one little figure. A study was done in the US of young people in their 20s. What was it they want out of life? What was the motivating factor that they wanted? Now, 78% actually said they wanted some meaning in their life. Mm-hmm. So that's 78% of young people who look as if they believe in nothing, but 78% looking for some meaning. So therefore, they are potential visitors to religious and spiritual sites. That's in the US, and I presume the same could be possible here. A lot of young people volunteer for service overseas to help their fellow man. I'm sure a lot of young people in this country would also like to help their fellow man, particularly the older citizen. Now, that's a little sidetrack, but it's the percentage of young people that have this need for a meaning in their life, not just financial. The other percentage are into money and all the rest of it. In other words, they're lost. But so if that figure is replicated in other countries and jurisdictions, this America, Ireland does not in any shape, way or form get the number of visitors that it potentially could get, which would create a lot of jobs.
Okay, so what do you think the government should do? I mean, all you hear in the media is the government knocking the Catholic Church. But the Catholic Church is actually, I mean, if you take aside the spiritual aspect of it, it's a big job creator.
Well, it certainly is, as regards visitors. Now, you see, whether the tourist organisations used to be Board Fortune, now it's kind of Tourism Ireland, it's North and South and all the rest of it, it seems to be not specific, but I think there should be a branch or some organisation should specifically target religious visitors and provide the sort of facilities now for visitors that would have a religious content. That's the growth industry, growing at 100% per annum. Fantastic growth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we certainly get some visitors for that. For example, we were up one time there recently in the Phoenix Park where Pope John Paul II paid a visit in 1979, and a cross is erected on the site where he said Holy Mass was celebrated with archbishops and bishops and thousands of priests. Now, visitors in their busloads go up to visit that. Regretfully, the Dublin Corporation has seen fit to put trees blocking the sort of photographs that people can take of this famous site. So people are going up there, but there are no facilities for them to perhaps visit some other place there where they could perhaps dine. So that's an example of them not actually utilising a potential religious site.
All you have there is a very expensive ice cream van.
Correct, and it's pathetic. And that's the sort of an example of the lack of planning, the lack of foresight, the lack of, what would they call, appreciation of this market that is a very genuine, safe market that it doesn't need flesh pots, doesn't need pubs open at half the night to attract such people. These are people that are seeking a meaning in their life. We have 30 million Irish Americans in the US. We're getting a fraction of that number, and a fraction of the number from the continent in the UK. Matter of fact, that market is down. If these people could be to visit the places where their ancestors come from, particularly the US and Australia for that matter, various other countries, Canada even, visit the places where their ancestors were born, the churches where they were born, perhaps now in ruins, their houses where they were born, all the famous religious and monastery sites throughout the country that were desecrated by the infamous Henry VIII and his minions all those years ago. Visit all these places. Visit the Lake of Knock and all these holy wells that we have around the country. We have a plethora of religious sites that there is nobody there to sort of tell them where to go or give them information.
Mm-hmm.
So why have they not woke up to the fact that this is a market that they're getting very little from? I often wonder what it is, what sort of perhaps people that don't practice the Catholic faith in the tourist organisations.
Could you see things improving with our new Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar?
No, because he's a different agenda. His father was a Hindu, with the name Leo, his mother could have been a Catholic. Whether I don't know what religion he is, if any. All I know is that his party that represents appears to be, according to the people that write in the newspapers, consider Fine Gael a very anti-Catholic party, introducing policies like the baptism barrier and the rest of it, and now perhaps dressing up abortion in some fancy words that they'll bring down, and promoting this agenda the whole time, there seems to be no room for religion. As a matter of fact, in some parts of the country, Galway County Council, for example, or Galway Corporation, whatever they call themselves, in some other parts, they've done away with prayers, which heretofore was a feature of their organisation. They call it multicultural. But this is a Catholic Christian country. It didn't suddenly become multicultural overnight. They allowed all these people to come in from East Europe when other countries put up various restrictions unless they were coming in to work and it was actually jobs. So, like, what is their agenda? It doesn't appear to be like to create jobs in the religion area, which is a growth area and which is not developed here whatsoever. Have they got the brains or the insight or the knowledge or the wish?
To wrap it up there, John, so there's plenty of room to manoeuvre, but there's nobody moving.
Well, you see, you don't see any evidence of it. We know a plane load of Americans come to knock there last year, and perhaps they're still coming, but we don't hear a word about it. So, you know, I mean, if the tourist industry is not going to do it, I believe certain interests, certain people in the Catholic organisations that perhaps have experience in this area would need to maybe develop it and make sure that sites and all the rest of it are secure, and that there's security in place in all these famous sites. Give employment in these areas, which is crying out for it, with a bit of security, so as your car and your possessions are safe. Mm-hmm. We hear terrible stories about robberies in these places. So, you know, just get their act together and create jobs. There's thousands of jobs here to be created. The Christian and Jobs Action Party is named for that particular reason. Both are very important. Jobs. There's jobs going and begging here if they'd only develop it.
Thank you very much, John Malone.
Thank you very much. Now, I could go on.